Good afternoon, YouTubers, and welcome back to the David Swordplay channel. Today we're going to do a review of the MV Agusta Turismo Veloce that I've owned for a year. I've done over 6,000 miles on it, so today we thought we'd run through the good and the bad. So let's start off with the negative things and end on a positive note. Well, some of the negative things are these. The TFT dash, well, looking fabulous, is very difficult to read when the sun is directly behind you. Now I've tried making a shield to throw a bit of shade on the screen to make it easy to read, but it never really worked, so that's one negative, and I can't see a way of getting around that. I've tried it in the night mode and the day mode. I've even put on an anti-glare Speedo Angels cover and nothing seems to have helped, so that's one of the negatives. The other negative is not really to do with the bike, although it is linked in a way, is the dealer network is very patchy. The nearest dealer to me, service dealer that I would trust, is in Barnsley. I think there's an MV dealer in Rochdale, but once I rung them and they weren't very helpful. So Bennett's in Barnsley have always been very helpful, and if you have an MV and you live close to them, I would definitely recommend taking it there for service. And that's just my personal point of view, having dealt with the company. The other negative about the bike is to do with how it's perceived with other dealers. Now, when I first bought this bike, it was the first bike I can honestly say I bought with my heart, because I fell in love with the shape. And I went ahead and bought it, even though some of my friends said you're buying trouble, but you know what it's like when you get a bike in your head, and I wanted it, so I bought it. And recently I've just been going around dealerships trying to get some road tests lined up for later on this year, and while I was there I asked them for a trade-in price against various bikes. Well, I have to say, I knew it was going to be tough, but I didn't realise how tough. A couple of dealers actually said to me we didn't want the bike. They'd had MVs before, found them very difficult to sell, so that's a definite negative. It took me quite by surprise, really. I mean, it's been a really reliable motorcycle. I've done, like I say, 6,000 miles on it. Changed the oil. I've put new front wheel bearings in, well, that's a service item. And recently fitted a new clutch and tyres, not because there was anything wrong with the clutch, but planning for the year ahead, I thought I'm going to do a bit of touring. It's getting up, it's done 24,000 miles now, over 24,000 miles, so I'll replace the clutch, which I did, which was fine. But as I say, when I took it to dealers, full service history, everything else, bike looking absolutely pristine, some of them weren't interested. So that's definitely a negative. The other negative, the parts are very expensive. Say for instance you've dropped the bike and fell on an indicator front to back, you'd be looking over £100, which is expensive. But I suppose it's a so-called high-end motorcycle, and I should have expected that. I did in a way because I did a bit of research, but I still see it as a negative. So there we are so far. Let's have a look at the positives. I love the look of this bike. Every time I park it up somewhere and I look back at it, it makes me smile. It's a beautiful looking machine. Might not be to everybody's taste, but for me, as a fast touring bike, it looks gorgeous. The seating position is really very good for me. I don't find the seat uncomfortable at all. Done happily over 200 miles a day on it, and always felt comfortable. The miles per gallon's not too bad. It's about on par with any bike. If you drive it sensibly, ride it sensibly, you get decent fuel mileage. If you don't, obviously the fuel mileage drops, but all in all, that was okay. The operating the bike, no problems at all. Everything's been working on it. I've had no issues electronically. I've had no overheating issues with it. It's just been a good, reliable bike. So that's a positive. I love the handling of it. It's really flickable. And recently, having put Bridgestone T32 tyres on it, which I like, it's even improved the bike even more, and it's a nice place to be. I've replaced the screen with a touring screen just to take the wind over my head, and that's been fine. So all in all, running the bike has not been a problem. Shoring the bike's not been a problem, and it's just recently passed its MOT, so it's a great little bike, and I've really enjoyed it. Still enjoying it. Love the quick shifter on it. It makes life really easy when you're on the road, although the throttle can be a little bit jerky if you're not careful, but again, when you get used to it, the bike ride's fine. The other thing I've put on it is a HP Corsa end cap. I've taken off the iconic triple pipe silencer at the back, which was absolutely huge and heavy, and put this very lightweight HP Corsa Extreme can on it, and I hope you can hear it as we're riding along the road, because it sounds amazing. So there's the good and bad. I've not had any problems that I would say I couldn't have had with any other bike. It started all the time in cold weather like today. It's quite cold. In fact, it's just got up to 3 degrees, and the bike runs fine. It's a really nice motorcycle, but again, because of the perception that MV Agustas are unreliable, it makes ownership of the bike a little bit, well, takes the enjoyment out of it really. I like it you know, I own an MV. It's a unique motorcycle. You don't see many of them on the road, and probably now I understand why. But as a touring bike, take out for a good weekend, you've got nice panniers on it that you can get a full face helmet in, easy to come on and off, heated grips work fine. It's a really good bike. So, having said all that, now comes the big question. Do I keep it for another year, or do I bite the bullet, say I've enjoyed the MV, but it's time to move on? Well, that is the big question, and I'm not quite decided yet. Like I say, I really enjoyed the bike, I really enjoy riding it, so do I take a bit of a hit on it and change it for something that's more, shall we say, more accessible to other people, so I won't have trouble trading it in or getting it serviced? I don't know. It's a bit of a quandary. So what I'm asking, why don't you have your say in the comments? I've recently tested a few bikes I really liked. The Super Tenere was one of them. I enjoyed that bike, little on the heavy side compared to the MV, but I enjoyed the bike, I enjoyed the low down torque. Because this is a fast touring bike, you have to rev it a bit more, change gear a bit more to keep it in the power band, which is not a problem, but I prefer the laziness of an adventure bike. So let me know in the comments below what you think. If you haven't been to the channel before and this is your first visit, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join us on our road tests and rides out during 2022. If you like the video, leave a like, and I'll see you on the next one, and we'll see what decision we make. So this is David from David Swordplay signing off and saying stay safe and be careful out there, and I'll catch you on the next video.